Have you ever looked at a modern skyscraper and wondered, where did it all begin? How do we go from simple huts to the architectural marvels we see today? Well, let's take a journey back in time, thousands of years, to explore the incredible evolution of ancient architecture. Our story starts with the earliest humans. Before grand palaces and towering monuments, our ancestors sought shelter in whatever they could find: caves, overhangs, and simple, temporary structures made from branches, animal skins, and mud. These weren't just places to sleep. They were the first expressions of a fundamental human need: to create a safe space. The big leap forward happened when we started using stone. Think of Stonehenge or the megalithic temples of Malta. These structures weren't just bigger. They represented a monumental shift in thinking. Building with stone meant permanence, community effort, and a connection to something larger than oneself, whether it was the cosmos or the gods. Now, let's travel to the land of the pharaohs, ancient Egypt. When you think of Egyptian architecture, one thing probably comes to mind: pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, is an absolute masterpiece of engineering. For centuries, it was the tallest man-made structure on Earth. Building it required incredible precision, advanced mathematics, and a massive, organized workforce. But Egyptian architecture wasn't just about pyramids. They also built breathtaking temples like those at Karnak and Luxor. These weren't just places of worship. They were sprawling complexes with towering columns, intricate carvings, and imposing statues, all designed to honor their gods and immortalize their pharaohs. The sheer scale was meant to inspire awe and reinforce the power of the divine and the state. At around the same time, in the Fertile Crescent between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, another great civilization was rising: Mesopotamia. Their most iconic structures were ziggurats. Imagine massive stepped pyramids made of mud brick with a temple perched on the very top. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids, which were tombs, ziggurats were seen as links between heaven and earth. They were artificial mountains, bringing the priests and rulers closer to the gods. Building with mud brick in a region with few stones presented its own challenges, but the Mesopotamians became masters of it, creating cities like Babylon that were legendary in their time. Now, let's head east to the Indus Valley in modern-day Pakistan and India. Here, we find something truly remarkable: some of the world's first planned cities. Places like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were laid out on a grid system, which is incredible for a civilization that flourished over 4,000 years ago. They had sophisticated water management systems, including public baths and covered drainage channels that ran alongside the streets. Their houses, built from standardized baked bricks, often had private wells and bathrooms. This level of urban planning and focus on public hygiene was centuries ahead of its time. It shows a society that was highly organized, prosperous, and cared deeply about the quality of life for its citizens. Finally, our journey takes us to ancient China, where a completely different architectural tradition developed. Instead of stone or mud brick, the primary building material was wood. Chinese architecture is famous for its elegant timber frame construction. They developed a unique system of interlocking wooden brackets called dugong, which not only supported the heavy, curved roofs but also added incredible decorative beauty. This system was so flexible and effective that it could withstand earthquakes. From graceful pagodas that seemed to reach for the heavens to the sprawling palace complexes of the Forbidden City, this style emphasized balance, harmony with nature, and a philosophy that was deeply embedded in the structure itself. From simple shelters to monumental tombs, sacred mountains, planned cities, and elegant wooden frames, the architecture of the ancient world is a testament to human ingenuity, creativity, and our enduring desire to build a better world. Each stone, each brick, and each beam tells a story of who we were and what we aspire to be, from the temples of ancient Greece to the engineering marvels of the Roman Empire. This isn't just a history lesson. It's the story of how a few simple ideas about building became the foundation for how we design our most iconic structures even today. Let's start our journey in ancient Greece, the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and some seriously stylish columns. The Greeks gave us the three main orders of architecture, which are basically different styles of columns. First up is the Doric order. It's the oldest and the simplest. Think strong, sturdy, and no nonsense. It's got a plain top called a capital and no base, sitting directly on the temple floor. The Doric order screams power and stability. You can see it in its full glory on the Parthenon in Athens. Next, we have the Ionic order. This one's a bit more elegant and decorative. The telltale sign of an Ionic column is the pair of scrolls or volutes at the top. It's taller and more slender than the Doric, giving it a graceful feel. It's like the sophisticated older sibling. You'll find these on other temples on the Acropolis, adding a touch of refined beauty. Finally, we arrive at the Corinthian order, the most decorative of the three. It's famous for its elaborate capital, which is carved to look like acanthus leaves and flowers. The Romans absolutely loved this one. The Corinthian order is all about luxury and opulence. It's the showstopper, designed to impress and dazzle anyone who sees it. Speaking of the Parthenon, it's the ultimate example of Greek temple design. It wasn't just built to be strong. It was designed to be perfectly beautiful to the human eye. The architects used incredible optical illusions. The columns bulge slightly in the middle, a technique called entasis, to make them look straight from a distance. The whole floor curves up slightly in the center so it doesn't appear to sag. It's pure architectural genius, a mathematical poem written in marble. Now let's hop over to Rome. The Romans were brilliant engineers. They took Greek ideas, then supersized them. While the Greeks perfected the post and lintel system basically, straight beams on top of columns, the Romans mastered the arch, the vault, and the dome. The arch was a game changer. It could support massive amounts of weight and span huge distances, something a flat beam just couldn't do. By extending an arch in a line, they created barrel vaults, which formed the ceilings of huge halls. And by rotating an arch 360 degrees, they created the dome, the most famous example being the Pantheon in Rome, which still has the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome almost 2,000 years later. This mastery of the arch allowed the Romans to build things the world had never seen before. Take the aqueducts. These were massive, bridge-like structures that carried fresh water for miles into their cities. They were a lifeline, a symbol of Roman power, and a testament to their incredible engineering skills. Using a precise, gentle slope, these aqueducts delivered millions of gallons of water a day, enabling their cities to grow and thrive. They also built huge public baths, amphitheaters like the Colosseum, and massive basilicas, all made possible by the arch. So, why does any of this matter today? Because the legacy of Greece and Rome is all around us. The next time you see a courthouse, a museum, a university, or even the White House, look closely. You'll see those Doric, Ionic, or Corinthian columns. You'll see grand domes and majestic arches. These classical elements are used to give our buildings a sense of permanence, tradition, and authority. They connect us back to the very foundations of Western civilization. From the solid, fortress-like churches to the sky-high cathedrals that still leave us in awe. Let's start our journey in the early medieval period with the Romanesque style. Picture this. Massive, thick walls, sturdy pillars, and distinctive rounded arches. These buildings were like fortresses of faith, designed to feel safe, grounded, and permanent. They weren't just places of worship. They were symbols of strength and stability in a very uncertain world. The interiors were often dark and solemn, with small windows, creating a very introspective and mysterious atmosphere. It was all about creating a sense of divine protection and power on earth. Think of it as architecture that gives you a big, solid stone hug. But then, something incredible happened. A new wave of thinking and engineering swept across Europe, and the Gothic style was born. This was a complete revolution. Architects figured out a new system: pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and the legendary flying buttresses. What did this all mean? Well, the pointed arches could carry more weight and push it downwards more efficiently than rounded ones. The ribbed vaults distributed the ceiling's weight to specific points, and the flying buttresses? They were the external supports that took the pressure off the walls, allowing them to be thinner and, most importantly, filled with huge, breathtaking stained glass windows. Suddenly, churches were no longer dark and heavy. They became light, airy, and soared towards the heavens. Walking into a Gothic cathedral was like stepping into a different world. Sunlight streamed through vibrant colored glass, telling biblical stories and illuminating the vast open space. It was meant to make you feel small but also uplifted, as if you were getting a glimpse of heaven itself. Iconic cathedrals like Notre Dame de Paris and Chartres Cathedral in France are perfect examples. Their towering spires and intricate details were designed to inspire awe and draw the eye upward, symbolizing a connection to the divine. Of course, the Middle Ages weren't just about cathedrals. This was also the golden age of castles. As kingdoms and lords vied for power, defensive architecture became crucial. Early castles were simple wooden structures, but they soon evolved into the massive stone fortresses we imagine today. We're talking concentric walls, imposing gatehouses with portcullises, tall towers or keeps for a final stand, and moats. Every single element was designed for defense. Arrow slits, or loopholes, allowed archers to shoot at attackers while staying protected. The high walls made them difficult to scale. Castles weren't just homes for nobles. They were military strongholds and centers of administration that projected power across the land. Now it's easy to think of medieval Europe as isolated, but that's far from the truth. There was a huge amount of cultural exchange happening, and one of the most significant influences on its architecture came from the Islamic world, especially in places like Spain. Features we now consider quintessentially medieval, like the pointed arch, were actually used in Islamic architecture much earlier. This exchange of ideas, along with advancements in mathematics and engineering, fueled the incredible innovations we see in Gothic structures. It's a powerful reminder that history is not a straight line, but a rich web of interconnected cultures learning from one another. Not just a story of bricks and mortar, but a story of human ambition, genius, and a changing world. Today we're taking a journey back in time, to an era when architecture wasn't just about shelter, it was a powerful form of art. Welcome to the transition from the Renaissance to the Baroque, a period that completely reshaped the skylines of Europe and the way we think about buildings. It all starts with a rebirth, or as the French would say, a renaissance. After the long Middle Ages, European thinkers and artists began to look back with fresh eyes at the ancient worlds of Greece and Rome. They saw a forgotten legacy of harmony, proportion, and human-centered design. Instead of the soaring, skeletal structures of Gothic cathedrals pointing to the heavens, Renaissance architects wanted to create buildings that felt grounded, rational, and beautiful in a way that celebrated human intellect. They rediscovered the classical orders, Doric, Ionic, Corinthian, and the mathematical principles that govern them. It was a radical shift, a move towards clarity, order, and symmetry. It was a statement that humanity was at the center of its own universe. And at the heart of this revolution in Florence stands a masterpiece that defied gravity and the expectations of an entire generation, the dome of the Florence Cathedral. For over a century, the cathedral had a giant hole in its roof. No one knew how to build a dome large enough to cover it. The challenge seemed impossible. Enter Filippo Brunelleschi. He wasn't just an architect. He was a goldsmith, an engineer, and a visionary. Instead of relying on traditional medieval techniques, he studied ancient Roman structures like the Pantheon. He came up with a radical double-shelled design with an inner and outer dome held together by a complex system of ribs and chains. He even invented new hoisting machines to lift the heavy materials. Brunelleschi's dome wasn't just a technical achievement. It was a symbol of the Renaissance spirit. It proved that by combining ancient wisdom with modern ingenuity art with science, human beings could achieve the impossible. This fusion of art and science became the hallmark of the era. Architects were no longer just master builders. They were artists, mathematicians, and philosophers. Think of Michelangelo. We know him as a sculptor and a painter, but he was also a groundbreaking architect. When he took over the design of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, he didn't just follow the plans. He infused the structure with his own powerful sculptural vision, designing a dome that would become a landmark for all of Christendom. These architects saw buildings as more than just functional spaces. They were compositions, carefully balanced and harmonized, designed to inspire awe and reflect a divine, ordered universe. They were creating heavens on earth, using geometry and light as their tools. But just as the calm, rational beauty of the High Renaissance reached its peak, a new energy began to stir. The world was changing. The Protestant Reformation had fractured the religious unity of Europe, and the Catholic Church needed a way to inspire the faithful and reassert its power. It needed art and architecture that was emotional, dramatic, and breathtaking. This is the birth of the Baroque. If the Renaissance was about divine harmony and order, the Baroque was about divine drama and passion. Architects started to break the rules. Straight lines gave way to sweeping curves. Flat walls were replaced with undulating facades that seemed to move and flow. It was an architecture of emotion. The goal was to create a total sensory experience. When you walked into a Baroque church, you were meant to feel overwhelmed, to be swept up in a spectacle of light, color, and motion. Grandeur was the name of the game. Look at the work of Gian Lorenzo Bernini, the master of the Roman Baroque. His design for the piazza in front of St. Peter's Basilica, with its massive colonnades reaching out like the maternal arms of the church, is a theatrical masterpiece designed to draw you in. Inside, his baldacchino, a colossal bronze canopy over the main altar, is a whirlwind of twisting columns, sculpture, and ornamentation. Everything is in motion. Light pours in from hidden windows, sculptures seem to come alive, and the boundary between painting, sculpture, and architecture dissolves. It's dynamic, it's theatrical, and it's pure, unapologetic spectacle. From the ordered perfection of Brunelleschi's dome to the theatrical grandeur of Bernini's colonnade, the journey from Renaissance to Baroque is a story of incredible artistic evolution. It shows us how architecture can reflect the very soul of an age, its beliefs, its conflicts, and its aspirations. These architects were sculptors of space, painters of light, and engineers of the impossible. They reminded the world that buildings could be more than just structures. They could be powerful expressions of human creativity, blending art and science to touch the divine. It's a wild story of human ambition and incredible innovation. Let's take a quick journey through time, from the very first modern buildings to the sci-fi cities of tomorrow. Our story kicks off in the Industrial Revolution. This era wasn't just about steam engines. It was a game-changer for architecture. Suddenly, we had amazing new materials like mass-produced steel, iron, and vast sheets of glass. Think of the Eiffel Tower or London's Crystal Palace. These weren't just structures. They were bold statements, showing the world what was now possible. For the first time, buildings could be light, airy, and reach for the sky in ways no one had ever imagined. With these new materials came a new challenge. How high can we go? The answer was the skyscraper. Early skyscrapers were steel skeletons wrapped in stone, but the real revolution was reinforced concrete. By embedding steel bars inside concrete, we could create structures that were incredibly strong and flexible. This allowed cities like New York and Chicago to build upwards, creating the iconic skylines we know and love today. It was a race to the clouds, literally shaping the modern city. Then, in the early 20th century, a new philosophy emerged: Modernism. Architects started asking, why do buildings need all this fancy decoration? The Bauhaus school in Germany championed the idea that form follows function. This led to minimalism, clean lines, simple geometric shapes, and a focus on open, practical spaces. Think of those sleek, glass-walled houses and minimalist office blocks. It was a radical departure from the past, embracing simplicity and efficiency as the ultimate form of beauty. But of course, things never stand still. By the latter half of the 20th century, some architects felt modernism was a bit too cold and rigid. This gave rise to postmodernism, which brought back color, playfulness, and historical references in a fun, often quirky way. And just as that was happening, another revolution was brewing: the digital age. Computers entered the architect's studio, allowing for mind-bendingly complex shapes and fluid forms that were previously impossible to design or build. Think of the swirling metallic curves of the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. That's digital power made real. So what's next? The future is already here, and it's powered by artificial intelligence. AI is now a creative partner for architects, generating thousands of design options in minutes, optimizing for everything from sunlight to energy use. This is leading to smart buildings that adapt to their occupants and the environment in real time. Imagine a building that adjusts its own temperature, lighting, and even its layout to suit your needs. Looking even further ahead, we're on the cusp of building entire green, smart cities. These aren't just collections of efficient buildings. They are living ecosystems. Picture cities with vertical farms, buildings that generate their own power, and transportation systems that are completely autonomous and pollution-free. AI will be the central nervous system of these future cities, managing resources, reducing waste, and creating healthier, more sustainable places for us all to live. From the steel frames of the Industrial Revolution to the AI-powered cities of tomorrow, the story of architecture is the story of us always dreaming, always building, and always reaching for something greater. The future of where and how we live is being designed right now, and honestly, it's going to be amazing. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through architecture as fascinating as I do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated.